Hi, Stuart Wemyss here and welcome to my first video blog. Today I'd like to talk about the rule of three. And the rule of three suggests that you've got 3 seconds to make a good first impression. If you do that right, it buys you 3 minutes, and you've got 3 minutes to find common ground and create likability. And if you do that right, it'll buy you 3 hours with the client to build trust. So let's look at those elements, because I think if you get this rule of three correct, you can kick the meeting off with a new client or prospect really well and make the rest of the kind of sales process or the advisory process a lot easier. Whereas if you don't get it right, it's always a little bit difficult, takes a little bit more time to get the meeting back on track. Okay, so let's look at the components. The first one, you've got 3 seconds to make a good first impression. I guess that's pretty simple, right? And we're probably all doing it. You know, it's about dressing appropriately, smiling, firm handshake, good eye contact, being friendly, warm and open, and all those sorts of things that you'd normally expect. The one that requires a bit of work is the second one, which is if you make a good first impression, you've then got 3 minutes to find common ground and create likability. The thing is, most people like the people they trust. So likability is a really key stepping stone, I guess, to building eventual trust with the client. And we all like people that are like ourselves. So if you've got certain interests and so forth, and you meet a person that shares the same interests, you're naturally going to have a rapport and likability. So the key is, or what we do in our business is do a bit of research before we meet the client and try and find something that we have in common that we can talk about when we first meet them. You know, that kind of small talk that you have sometimes about the weather, that you have before you meet a client. Well, we want to make this small talk kind of work for us. So we'll look for things like, did they go to the same school, lived in the same area, have they worked with people in the same industry and so forth. You can normally find something. And if nothing else, you know, a really good common ground is children. You know, if they've got kids, a new baby perhaps. There is sometimes, maybe 5% of the time, you can't find a genuine, authentic thing that you have in common with the client. Look, that's fine. It just means, because you've got to be authentic, you can't make it up. It just means that it's going to be a little bit extra work. And if you do that well, you've got then 3 hours to sort of build trust with the client. And that's all about demonstrating, you know, that you're there prepared to listen to them, that you're there to solve their problems and so forth. So, in summary, the rule of three, you've got 3 seconds to make a good first impression. You do that, it'll buy you 3 minutes to find common ground and create likability. You do that well, it'll create 3 hours. So I hope that's been useful, and look out for my next blog next week. Cheers.